everybody, welcome back to Latina Midlife. So glad to have you here. Today we are going to be talking about part 2 of SAR, Search and Rescue, and it's going to be about what piqued my interest in SAR, how I learned about SAR, so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so first, how did I learn about SAR? And it's the classic friend of a friend situation. So my boyfriend's friend has a friend who is in search and rescue, and he showed me some of his pictures and told me a little bit about his background and his specifically that he works in a completely different industry from the medical industry, and that's what I work in. So I guess going back to what I thought about search and rescue, I always assumed that it was, law enforcement who was responsible for going out and finding, missing people, whether it's on the trail or whether it's, shipwreck kind of situation or a plane goes down. I always just thought it was law enforcement, Coast Guard, things like that. I didn't know that it was, and believe me, they are agencies that do work hand in hand with each other, but I didn't know that search and rescue is a whole thing on its own. So going back to my boyfriend's friend, he works in the tech industry. So that's kind of what started the thought process of, oh, well, I am in the medical industry and I do have medical background and I could definitely be an asset to a team out there in the wilderness if need be, because you guys know me and you guys know that I run a lot, going up in mileage a little bit more each week, each month, getting a little bit better. But you guys know that I was an intercollegiate athlete, and so you know that I like the outdoors. I'm out there a lot. If I'm not running, I'm biking. If I'm not doing that, I'm doing something else. I'm probably hiking. But that's what kind of started the process of me researching and doing everything to find out what I could about search and rescue. So if you watch my other video, you know that it's a group of dedicated volunteers, and that to me was pretty amazing because I thought, wow, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're professional and they are trained, but the fact that they will train you without any medical experience or without having, any ties to search and rescue, I think that's pretty cool. Of course, again, it is a bonus if you are an EMS or you're in fire or you're a nurse, things like that. But for the most part, guys, that's how I learned about it. So started doing my own research, and that's going to bring me to point number 2. So what experiences piqued my curiosity about SAR? Well, I can say I had an experience, and this is a little TMI to talk about. Well, not TMI, but it's a little personal. And I'll just keep it kind of brief. So my grandpa has dementia, and he started to sundown, and basically he went missing, and I was working night shift that night. My mom called me, and she was really stressed out and whatnot, and luckily work just let me go ahead and tend to my family emergency. I told them I was going to be joining a search party, and so on and so forth. So what was interesting was, again, I always thought that it was law enforcement and other, law enforcement that is responsible for finding people in urban areas, right, in the city. But as it turns out, search and rescue is also responsible for finding missing people, and this is called a silver alert when an elderly person goes missing. They're 65 or older, they have a cognitive impairment of the sorts. But that situation was quite cumbersome. I remember we went out and we were using our headlights, we were checking everywhere. Where could he have gone, right? He used to walk to the bank sometimes he would go to quick stop, sometimes he would go and buy snacks and things like that. So we were just looking at all the places around. He ended up wandering about 5 miles away, which is close to where downtown is, and they found him right at an intersection, and luckily they found him when he did, because that would have been very dangerous if he had entered the freeway. So the story ended on a good note. They were able to find him, but that experience opened my mind to a lot of things, and it made me realize that there's a group of amazing people who are on call boom, they get the call and they're out there. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. You know, because, well, I was also working night shift, and I want to say this was during the pandemic. But being so used to working in a controlled environment and in a controlled setting, like a nursing home or a hospital or this or that, it's different to go out and actually see. Like, it's just it's a different environment. Like, you wouldn't think that daylight plays such a huge role, but it does. Trying to go to, you know, anywhere, like, really, guys, anywhere. Everywhere that we drove, like, I'm like, how do I explain this? Everywhere that we drove, we had headlights and flashlights, and we were looking around, and it was challenging going around buildings, doing this, doing that. Okay, there's a camera there, noted. If we don't find him, note that there is a camera. We need to reach out to this person and that person, and it was a lot. So that was an experience that I had. Also, I remember my sister and I had seen one of the really cool search and rescue vans that was coming from Tahoe. And I kind of shrugged her, and I was like, dang, wouldn't it be so cool if we could do something like that? And I remember she looked at me and she was like, man, that would be so badass. And I was like, yeah, you know? And when I went home after that week of, you know, being out in the snow and having going on our vacation, I thought, well, why can't I do something like that? I'm fit. I go outdoors a lot. All crazy. No, but like I'm active. I think I can handle a 10-mile hike. I can handle a 10-mile run. So I started thinking, I think I would be a good asset to a team. In fact, with my medical, you know, knowledge and experience, I think I could really help. I think I could, you know, I think I could give back to the community in this way, you know? So that's gonna bring me to my third point. What do you need to do if you are interested in search and rescue? And again, this is going to vary county by county, state by state, but basically what I did was, after going, you know, finding my county's team, I basically put like, okay, so there's a little tab where it says join the team, and there's an e-form. Yeah, and it's basically an interest form. You put your name, your phone number, your email, things like that. And it also says that they will reach out to you as soon as applications open, and they did. So the step after that and everything that comes after that is the more challenging aspect, I would say. I mean, in terms of paperwork. So after the orientation, after you're invited to an orientation, you schedule an interview. If you pass the interview, then you are required to complete all the paperwork. So the first paperwork I completed was a post-history questionnaire, and this was 33 pages long. It was, I want to say 10 years into like your employment history, where you went to school, if you have any certificates, any licenses in anything. Also your references. I think you need like 7 to 10 references. Yes, so that's the post-history questionnaire. That's what I had to do. Also, there were 4 classes that they wanted us to take, and the first one is ICS 100, the second one is ICS 200, NIM 17, and helicopter for search and rescue, and it's like helicopter basics. Helicopters in search and rescue. And so those classes need to be completed before the actual start date, which for us is going to be in August. I will touch on another note, but then you have to pass the background check. And if you pass the background check, also, that's what this folder is for. In the background check, you have to have a series of paperwork. And the paperwork is, so there's a civilian application, and then you have a required documents checklist. And the checklist is proof of birth, marriage certificate, divorce, decrees, bankruptcy records and judgments, civil suits, final judgments, proof of selective service registration, employment records, proof of vehicle liability insurance, social security, driver's license, copy of crime reports in which the applicant is a suspect or was arrested. So that's all the stuff for the background check. Now, that's going to bring me into my last point, and that, guys, is that since I passed, or not passed, but now, so since I'm in search and rescue, technically, sorry, my phone is just going off. Now that I am in search and rescue, the next step for me is the background check, but the team gets together on one date because it's just easier to have the investigator or the detective do the background check. So because I'm going on vacation, I'm not going to make it to that date, and I'm like fingers crossed that I'm able to get another date because I'm going to be leaving soon, and yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm able to get in. But those are my next steps, just the background check, and then I think we have like the swearing in ceremony in August as well. So yeah, I don't want this video to get too long, but those are the steps that I'm taking, and I do plan to talk about some of the techniques that we use and stuff, so stay tuned for that because it's going to be really exciting. And all this stuff should be coming out in August, September, I want to say September, October, November we graduate. So yeah, and pretty much I'd be attending the academy if I do get in, so stay tuned for that. Okay guys, I'm gonna let you go though because it's getting a little long, so take it easy. Yeah.